Brock Purdy recovery is on track. So when Brock Purdy got hurt, we got to kind of go back to the NFC Championship game. Boom, he gets hurt. You don't know exactly what it is. Then come to find out, it's like UCL or ULC, whatever it is. His elbow, right? His elbow's falling off or whatever's going on with it. And I'm like, well, like what is this? And we have Coach Desi. I gotta get Coach Desi back on soon. But we got Coach Desi, and she's talking about the elbow and stuff like that. Everybody's kind of waiting for him to get this surgery, and then it like gets pushed back, and it gets pushed back again, and then it gets pushed back again. I'm like, what the heck? Right? You're running out of time here, like for the start of the season. Like, ain't he supposed to have it now so he can be ready for the start of the actual season or training camp? And then you start to learn more about the process of it, where it's like, hey, after 3 months, he's actually throwing, which right now he's throwing the football. And then there's a ramp up period, right? Like the ramp up period doesn't start when it's like, oh, okay, after 6 months, he's recovered. Now let's ramp up his throwing. No, that's not what they're doing. They're starting at 3 months to ramp up his throwing so that by 6 months, he is 100% ready to go. And I'd say before he's fully cleared, he probably would have been ready to go a month prior to that, right? And right now, he's on track or even ahead of track a little bit to be ready. So, with knowing that, right, and that's not necessarily like new news. I think we've all known that aspect of it. All right, but when it comes to Brock Purdy and coming back, if I had to guess, he might be cleared by the last preseason game. So here's my question to y'all, and I'm gonna be looking in the chat and seeing what y'all have to say about it. If hypothetically speaking, he's cleared before the last preseason game, do you play him, or do you say, okay, we're not gonna play you in that last preseason game, even though you're 100% cleared to go and you haven't had like full on live action? All right, so we're not gonna play in that last preseason game. We'll wait. You'll have 2 weeks of practice, but then week 1 you play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I know everybody, when you think of Pittsburgh Steelers, first of all, they're going to be rocking. They're in Pittsburgh. They're going to be crazy. They're going to be rocking. I'm excited. All right. But when you think of Pittsburgh, there's one guy who is a terrorizer, and he's crazy. I'm going to bring up some numbers here. All right. And you got to hope that this guy just, I don't even know what you hope. He's going to be him. He's going to do him. We're talking about TJ Watt. So the question is, do you want TJ Watt to be the first live action for Brock Purdy? Or do you want him to kind of get that out during that third preseason game? Again, this is hypothetically speaking that he's cleared to go for that last preseason game. Do you say, nope, we're not going to put you in harm's way. Just get these next 2 weeks, be the starting quarterback in practice, and get you ready for week 1? And if you do that, then again, his first live action is going to be with TJ Watt on the other side. TJ Watt, a guy who last year missed a lot of time, but prior to that, I mean, he's a menace. And the thing, even more than his sacks, right? Because TJ Watt, ton of sacks, 22 and a half sacks in 2021. I believe he was Defensive Player of the Year. 15 sacks a year before that, 14 and a half sacks a year before that, 13 sacks a year before that. Like, he's a menace. But even more important than his sacks, 6 forced fumbles in the season, 8 forced fumbles in the season, 2 forced fumbles, 5 forced. The dude forced 23 forced fumbles. Like, I'm assuming out of the 23 forced fumbles, 18 of them are on quarterbacks, maybe more, right? Where he's just coming around that corner, they're going to throw that ball, and boom, TJ Watt hits him. And that scares me, right? Like, that's your first live action. So, I don't know. I'd like to hear y'all thoughts. Do you play him and just, hey, man, get caught up with the speedy game in this preseason game, even though, you might not have Trent Williams. You might not even have McKivitz in that game. I don't know. Maybe you have McKivitz, but then you have Jaylen Brown and more, and I don't want to see that because I remember what it looked like with Trey Lance last year against the Houston Texans, and it was almost like have y'all seen that it's like a video of this guy, and he's supposed to be like security patting people down, and he's just like, and then letting them go. That's what it looked like last year in the Texans preseason game where, I mean, those guys were just killing Warren McKivitz. So if that's the case, I for sure don't want Brock Purdy behind that. So you got to figure out how to, one, I'm going to protect my guy, Brock Purdy, in this preseason game, or your first live action will be with TJ Watt on the other side. And he's coming. He's coming. Pause. My guy said, my bad. TJ Watt versus McKivitz. I mean, and at the end of the day, no matter what, TJ Watt will be playing against McKivitz. My thing is, do you want that to be Brock Purdy's first, like, full-on live action, and what that might actually be or look like? Now, some of y'all are funny, man. David Hasselhoff. I appreciate everybody's always in the chat. I see all my guys, and I have an idea of where guys lean. I know kind of what some of the guys' thoughts are. So David is I don't want to, like, he's pro Lance. I would say that, right? And I was live on Larry Kruger's show, and somebody was like, "Oh, Crocker's pro Lance. You know, let's see how this goes." Like, dude, I'm pro 49ers. All right, like, whatever. I don't care. I have given my thoughts on. I feel like if you win the Super Bowl, you want Trey Lance to be as good as he can be. But I don't care. Like, I feel like they'll win a lot against Brock Purdy. All right. And 187. I know him, he loves Purdy. All right. Even his picture right there is Brock Purdy. But David says, hopefully Brock starts game 1. Listen, David does, if he had it his way, he would say Trey Lance starts week 1. But he's being messy right here because he knows who's on the other side there. He knows who is on the other side there. He knows that TJ Watt will be on the other side. And that's scary to me. That's scary to me. I'm not going to lie. How many of y'all in the chat have just watched a Steelers game? Just watch the game. Like over the last 2 years, where you just watch. And I know we talk a lot about Nick Bosa, and I think Nick Bosa, he's one of the best defensive players in the NFL, if not the best. Pittsburgh Steelers fans would tell you that TJ Watt's the best player in the NFL. That's what they would tell you. All right, so that one thing, man, that's interesting. And I can't wait to bring some people on live so maybe we can get some more thoughts on that whole thing with, should you sit him? Should it play? I'll put that question back up there.